Seele's Rerun banner is going to be releasing really soon in Honkai Star Rail, so today I'm going to go over her banner, her kit, and how valuable I think she's going to be currently in the game, now that it has been some time since she initially released. So, I want to start out with her banner here. So her banner is going to be exactly the same as Topaz's banner, where the featured 4 stars are going to be Guinaifen, Luka, and Sushang. The rerun banners being the same as the other banner that's out is a thing that Hoyoverse does. They've done it with Genshin, so it's probably gonna be something we'll see moving forward. Whatever banners are out at the same time will have the same guaranteed 4 or the same featured 4 stars, I should say. So to really quickly go over these characters in terms of working with Seele. Personally, I don't think any of them have as much synergy with Seele as they might have on a team with like Topaz, but for Guinaifen, she is a burn DOT applier, so she'll work very well on DOT-centric teams. Then you have Luka, who's going to be a great physical DOT applier, or if you don't want to run a DOT build for him, you could run a sub DPS build that focuses more on his break effect, which would also be pretty powerful. And then for Sushang, she is a 4-star DPS option for the physical type, which is definitely cool, but also, if you're pulling for Seele, you're already getting that DPS fix with her. So Sushang not as valuable, but if you did need another DPS option, if you're very new, you don't have too much in your account right now, Sushang could be a good option for the time being. But for now, let's move on into Seele's kit, and then we'll see what she can do from there. So starting with Seele's skill, she is able to increase the speed, her own speed for 2 turns, and deal damage to a single enemy. So, increasing your speed will just allow her to get more actions per cycle, depending on what speed stat you have on your Seele. You really don't need to build that much speed on her, I feel like, especially with her speed increasing on her skill. Then when we get to her ultimate, she will enter her buffed state, which we'll talk more about in her talent. And when she's in this state, she will damage 1 enemy with her ultimate. It'll be a nice big attack to that 1 enemy. Then for her talent has 2 parts. Firstly, it talks about the buffed state, which is that she will increase her damage by a set amount per turn for 1 turn when she enters the buffed state. And then the second part of her talent is what I think is probably the best part of her talent and what made her the best DPS in the game at the game's release. And for a decent amount of time, she was still the best, is her Resurgence. Now, her Resurgence is going to make it so that whenever she defeats an enemy with her basic attack, her skill, or her ultimate, she will gain another action. And the reason I say another action instead of another turn is because, unlike a lot of other times where you get another attack, where it says it's considered a follow-up attack, or it's considered like another turn, this is neither of those. This is considered to be in the same turn where you defeated the enemy. So if you have a support buff active on the turn, you'll still have it for the Resurgence attack. And also getting into Resurgence also activates the buff state as well. So your Resurgence attack will end up doing more damage. Plus, if you defeat an enemy once you're using your Resurgence attack, you're not able to trigger another Resurgence attack. So you can't be in like an infinite loop until the battle ends, unfortunately. But even still, Seele is able to do a lot of damage with this Resurgence, and it really is the thing that makes her so great as a DPS character. And then for her technique, she goes into a stealth mode for 20 seconds when you activate her technique, and during this time, enemies can't notice you. And if you do attack an enemy while you have the stealth active and you enter battle, you will start in the buff state with that extra damage boost for the first turn, which is very nice as well. Then to move on to how good is Seele with the current meta, with all the new characters that have come out since her initial banner. Now, Seele is, as many gacha game players might expect, she's not the best DPS in the game anymore. She had the title for a bit, but it's pretty clear now that there's better DPSs in the game. Like, I do think like Jingliu and Imbibitor Lune are definitely better than Seele. Blade probably is going to be either like similar level or maybe like slightly better, slightly worse. It's going to be around the same for Blade. So it definitely is, that definitely is something to keep in mind when pulling for Seele. But even though she's not the best, she is able to still perform extremely well. She is able to do a lot of damage, especially if you pair her with a good support character, like Bronya or Ting Yun, as well as, making sure you can just sustain her and keep her going. And the one thing I do want to mention now, with the state of Honkai Star Rail and the characters that have been coming out, especially some of these new DPSs, is that when it comes to endgame content, she does, I feel like, lose a little bit of value, because a lot of the endgame fights tend to have like 3 to 5 enemies at a time, where Seele can only attack one enemy at a time. And if you're not able to defeat an enemy to activate your resurgence attack, then Seele is not getting as much value as she could be getting. So that is one situation where other DPSs, like Jing Liu and Barbara Lune, even Xing Chui could be more valuable, especially for Quantum. It's, I definitely do consider Xing Chui in the discussion as well. But for her specifically, for her to work at her best, you do need Eidolons for sure as a 4-star. And that is something to keep in mind as well for that. So overall, I do think that if you're looking for a DPS and even a Quantum character at that, since there aren't too many Quantum characters and there's really only 2 Quantum DPSs right now, if you want one that you don't need Eidolons for and can work very well at E0 and can do just a lot of damage consistently, then I definitely recommend picking up Seele. I do think she's going to be a very great, value option for accounts that are struggling with Quantum and, not having like a very strong DPS for Quantum if you want a damage dealer for that element. And I definitely do think it's a good idea too, since Quantum is one of the stronger elements in the game. But I want to see what you all think about Seele as well. You can leave that in the comments down below. I already have Seele, so I'm not going to be pulling for her. But I am interested to see if other people are going to be pulling for her, even though, we have Jing Liu out for the rest of the week before the Seele and Topaz banners come out. But with that, everyone, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed and you haven't already, definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. But I will see you all next time.